Hi, thanks for logging on. We've got some cool things to talk about on this, the 3rd of May at about 3:25. This one was recorded. First of all, right now we've got this awesome little low pressure system just spiralling around in Bass Strait. It's been retrogressing. That means it's been moving back towards the west. They don't happen very often, but when they do, they usually kick up some heavy storms. Melbourne's been getting pummeled throughout this afternoon. The same for Tasmania, with some really strong winds and little galaxy arms off the centre of that low in Bass Strait, producing some pretty solid winds. The whole tail of this system is stretching back across the northeast corner of New South Wales, where the showers have continued on this afternoon, and we've seen a couple of small storm cells flare up as well across the northern tablelands. They are slowly tracking towards southeast Queensland and the northern rivers. It was a nice day today, but the whole system has been moving slowly across the broadcast area because that low retrogressed, because it moved back towards the west. Now we've got some cooler things set to happen during the next week. Now that huge tail of that system is going to spawn another low. An east coast low is going to form, but along that trough line during Saturday, Sunday, a whole bunch of micro lows will form right along that entire trough line as it deepens across the weekend, and then they're all going to merge together, forming one intense low pressure system come Monday. So what does all that mean? Well, first of all, the weather for us across the broadcast area of northeastern New South Wales and southeast Queensland, it should be a predominantly fine weekend. It should be overall clear, cool, classic autumn's weather, very chilly, close to freezing each and every night across the higher ground of the tablelands. It is going to be a bit breezy. It's a southerly influence, a southwesterly influence, it seems, at this point. So the weather on the mainland is all going to be fine. The interesting part is for surfers. Amazingly, you've heard me say this on the air, the atmosphere loves to repeat itself. It'll get into a rhythm and it'll do something, and then you'll find a couple of weeks later it'll do it again. If you remember, around about 2 weeks ago, we had a system that spawned huge amounts of swell along the entire eastern seaboard, and it was just a cracker of a weekend for surf. The system is almost as identical, probably brewing, probably growing to become a little more intense by the time we get into the early part of next week on Monday, with that low moving into the southern part of the Tasman. This has been a cracking season for surfers, and because we've seen the northerly swell, it's pushed all of the sand into the southern corners, so the classic east coast Australian surf breaks have been cranking, and they will be again, and the water is warm, so it's probably going to be warmer in than out. So some interesting developments, and finally, with that solid swell, that'll combine with the supermoon on Sunday. The full moon will be the closest it's been to Earth in 18 years, so therefore we've got massive tides, huge king tides, especially for Newcastle's Central Coast, 2.10 metre tides. So we'll see some coastal erosion as well. Some interesting stuff happen. We'll keep an eye on it again, so we'll refresh this at the same time tomorrow afternoon.